Jimmy Kimmel was bullied off the air by a man that lies about his height and weight, who wears a lot of makeup, and to me looks like he has full-blown dementia. Meanwhile, Fox News is able to call for just casually talk about, hey, yeah, let's just kill off the homeless, and the other hosts just go along with it. And I know you've probably seen this clip and we played it before, but it's important to stay tuned because I'm going to set the soil for just how deranged, demented, and diabolical this MAGA movement is. And yes, we think they're fascist. Play the clip.
And the homeless population, a lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right.
Yeah, sure. No big deal.
We're just going to kill people.
Why did it get to this point that we're forced to kill these poor homeless people? Because, oh my God, they're such an inconvenience for us.
So inconvenient.
And I guarantee you, over 95% of the people that watch Fox identify as Christians.
100%. And the reason there wasn't huge backlash against him in that clip is because that 95% agrees with him.
It's a great point.
It would be
Pam.
easier. It would be more efficient. We wouldn't have to deal with these loony people.
Right. And so then what happens when you have people in power, in positions of perceived power, of visibility, disparaging and dehumanizing homeless people? A lot of homeless people are vets, having served in the military. A lot of them have mental illness, means that they're ill, and mental illness is not something that we should judge people for. It's the same as having any other type of illness. And a lot of homeless people are just broke. They're poor. They cannot afford to live in the United States of America because the wealth gap is so massive and nobody gives a shit to raise the minimum wage. So after stuff like this happens through this propaganda channel to dehumanize homeless people, very sad to report the following. Play the video.
Multiple victim shooting in which 8 people have been injured by gunfire. This time this occurred at a homeless encampment. The people of Minneapolis, but unfortunately, here we are yet again in the aftermath of a mass shooting. This is not normal. I'm providing details on yet another multiple victim shooting in which 8 people.
You guys, 8 people shot. And this officer here says, here we are again, reporting on another mass shooting in America. And we played for you before, one of the country's top, and I'm saying this in parentheses, listener, news channels. Maybe we should just kill them. Yeah, sure. Why not? If this is what white evangelical Christianity is, I mean, come on.
I don't want any part of it.
It's just so disgusting. It's so vile. And they don't feel empathy for victims of gun violence. They don't feel empathy for homeless people. What a bunch of cold, twisted fucktwats. I'm serious.
Agreed.
It's just so gross. Okay. And then, you guys, this is just unbelievable. They roll out the same guy that casually mentioned killing homeless people to talk about Jimmy Kimmel. They had that guy claim the moral high ground. I'm not making this up. I'm going to show you the video to prove it.
More on that later. The point is that Kimmel's comments went way too far for some television executives. Not for me, not for you, but for them. And they turned up the heat on Kimmel, the host, to calm down the rhetoric.
Okay, and that's actually false reporting. The Rolling Stone had reported that the ABC executives didn't think that Kimmel's comments went anywhere near over the line. The reason that Kimmel was fired is because Kimmel hurt Donald Trump's feelings. That's the country we live in. And Donald Trump is surrounded by a bunch of fluffers, people that keep the penis hard during changing scenes in a porn. And he's surrounded by fluffers that debase and embarrass themselves every single day. But for Fox to trot out this guy to report on that is just wild.
I mean, irony's dead, hypocrisy's dead. I mean, it's just like these people, the more norms they can break, the more craven they can be, the more their base likes it, the
Yeah.
more they like it. And here again, another shooting. Are we talking about gun legislation? Fuck no.
But, seeing Kilmeade's casual mention of we should just start, what did he say? Involuntary lethal
Yeah.
ingestion. And they're like, yeah, how did he even get this far that we're forced to kill him? The blonde sitting
Yeah.
there. Seeing how casually they talk about killing people makes me understand the right wing Republicans and Christians, why they're so tolerant of gun violence. Because they're very tolerant of it. They're
Yes.
much more tolerant of gun violence than the left is. Like I think Charlie Kirk was a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, a transphobe. I think he exploited the most marginalized people to make tens of millions of dollars. I think he was a sack of shit. I abhor that he was shot with a gun. I abhor that level of violence. Like he was still a human being to me, even though everything he stood for was demonizing other people. And it helps me understand how these right-wing church-going Christian people, particularly white people, are just so primed to dehumanize people. They don't really give a shit about gun violence at all.
I hadn't thought about it in those terms, but that makes a ton of sense, because they are more worried about Charlie Kirk's assassination, which was a horrible murder. But they pick up their phone and it says, "Oh, we've had school shootings today." Not a word. I mean, they're just like, "Oh, it's fine."
Which brings me to this, Pumps. On the same day that Charlie Kirk was murdered, a little young radicalized neo-Nazi shot up a school in Denver. So a story that no one is talking about, last week's high school shooting in Denver. A 16-year-old white boy radicalized online and promoting white supremacist and anti-Semitic conspiracies inspired by and a fan of terrorists who promoted replacement theory. Okay. And you guys, here's where I have a message for Benjamin Netanyahu, who now we're up to 6 involuntary posts and videos where he has said that he did not kill Charlie Kirk.
Right.
6.
Unsolicited.
We're up to 6. And I don't know what all that's about. I just think it's interesting because I haven't seen any other world leaders deny killing Charlie Kirk.
No, me neither.
So this is the thing that people have to understand, that she and I really know well. The most Nazi-like anti-Semitic people are the most Republican people I know. And you have Benjamin Netanyahu and all of these Zionists who are sucking up to the party whose tent is full of anti-Semitic neo-Nazis. For real, you guys. And so you can see here that this kid is radicalized white nationalist neo-Nazi. But here's the rub here, you guys. This is where we have all of these things happening at one time and they're linked. Okay, we have Charlie Kirk that got shot. This kid, neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic, shoots other kids, radicalized online. And then we have Trump saying he wants to control the First Amendment, basically annihilate it. There's another person that also wants to control the First Amendment in America, and that is the aforementioned prime minister who's denied killing Charlie Kirk 6 times, Benjamin Netanyahu. So this weird intersection where you see all of today's news stories individually, but they all kind of come together because Benjamin Netanyahu is killing journalists in Gaza that are reporting on the famine/genocide. And they don't want journalists in there reporting on it because that's how bad it is. While at the same time, on the right and on the left in the United States of America, a lot of Americans are going, why the fuck is Israel all up in our business all the time? We don't want to fund genocide. People on the right and on the left are saying this. So he has a massive PR problem. Well, how do you control PR? You control the narrative. How do you control the narrative? You control the news and squash the First Amendment. So all of these stories are actually linked where you have somebody so desperate to commit genocide that is Jewish Zionist that is willing to unite with white nationalist anti-Semites. And it is just this fucking crazy crash course, and we're just all sitting here living in it.
We're sitting here living in it. And, here's the thing with Trump and Netanyahu. They make no bones about Trump Gaza. Remember that video where they're sitting around and their fat asses are sitting on the beach? It's just like, are you kidding me? Like a leader of the free world, Donald Trump, put that on his social media with Benjamin Netanyahu, who's committing genocide, and he's still in office.
I feel like Benjamin Netanyahu is all up in the U.S.'s business. I mean, obviously, there's always been this, our ally, they have a right to exist, the right to defend themselves. There's always been some of that, but I've never, in my 51 years on earth, ever seen Israel so much in the United States business as it is right now. While at the same time, we're expected to fund this genocide. And then you have the story, it's breathtaking. Like a day or two after Charlie Kirk's assassination, Marco Rubio, who had just did a big slap and tickle with Netanyahu over in Israel,
50 states, one Israel.
he wants to start this bill in Congress that if somebody speaks out against Israel, that he can revoke a U.S. citizen's passport. So this is that intersection where these gun violences and this right-wing terrorism and the First Amendment stuff, it seems like MAGA and the Zionists are one, but I have to warn the Zionists, the MAGA people are anti-Semitic. They are real Jew haters, you guys. For real.
Complete with Nazi flags, the whole nine.
Real, which brings me to our final clip, which is the United States government has scrubbed this study that our taxpayer money paid for. And Kanks has pulled this off of the FBI DOJ website. And here's what it found. Militant, nationalistic, white supremacist, violent extremism has increased in the United States. In fact, the number of far-right attacks continues to outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violent extremism. Since 1990, far-right extremists have committed far more ideological motivated homicides than far-left or radical Islamist extremists, including 227 events that took more than 520 lives. In that same period, far-left extremists committed 42 ideologically motivated attacks that took 78 lives. A recent threat assessment by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security concluded that domestic violent extremists are an acute threat and highlighted a probability that COVID-19 pandemic-related stressors, longstanding ideological grievances related to immigration, and narratives surrounding electoral fraud will continue to serve as a justification for violent actions. So we got COVID, grievances, electoral fraud. Who does that remind you of?
Trump.
Kanks. So here's the thing that I want to say, and I want to say something that I think is super important. I think Israel is a really bad actor right now, and I think they have been in the United States for a long time. But that does not diminish the love and the respect that I have for my Jewish friends and for the Jewish people. And many, many Jewish people are speaking out about what their government is doing in their name. Just as we are speaking out right now about what our government, Kanks, is doing in our name. And we need to remember that when we're talking about human rights, we can't make one group higher and one group lower. We all have to be on the same playing field. Trans people, Muslim people, Jewish people, middle-aged atheist broads like us, all on the same playing field. And so it's super important that we understand that. But while at the same time, nobody can hold anybody else's speech emotionally hostage and threaten them that if you speak out against Israel, you're anti-Semitic. These are the tools of abusers and gaslighters. And we need to stand up against it, because two really bad actors, and I didn't even talk about Putin this episode. That's how fucked we are, you guys. But it's important that we keep staying engaged and knowing our rights and never, ever, ever obey in advance. All right, make sure you subscribe and please do me a favor. Buy our book. Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. It's a great little fall read and it's linked right below in the show notes.